Hey folks, it's Pat here. Welcome back to the Midland. Welcome back to my train channel. And tonight we're going to run train number 2, which is our lumber local, and it's also replacing our log local. And so if you watch the longer video that I posted a few nights ago, then that was me kind of testing this train out, and now I've got it kind of figured out. It's very similar to kind of what I did that night, but tonight I want to try and get it done within half an hour. And so let's see if we can do it. And so the plan is really straightforward. So we have number 2, which is the Tier 2 Porter here with 3 bulkhead flats and 9 stakes. And so we're sitting here on main 1 right now. We're going to head up towards the lumber mill up there. We're going to do some switching up there. Then we're going to head up towards the log camp. And then we're going to come back to the lumber mill, do a little bit more switching. And then we're going to yard that train right here on this track, which is yard number 1. And that will be how this train runs in the future, because we have to run this one before we can run the mine train, which will be the next one. So here we go. We're showing about a minute in. So let's whistle off and go, shall we? So we're all gassed up and ready. And so let's get out of here. I think my switches are lined, so if I'm not mistaken. So the cool thing, the way that I've got this train set up is, as long as the switches are lined, you don't have to line too many switches. We'll have to line one outside by the log pond, and then we're going to have to line another one up here on the way back, but that should be about it. And we'll have to close the switch up at the log camp, but really there's just not that, you don't have to chase too many switches in this one here. As long as everything's lined properly, that one's lined, that one's lined, that one's lined, because we're going this way, which is the branch that goes up towards the lumber mill. And so here we go. We can go ahead and pour on a little bit more speed here. So while we're at it, and see if we can actually get this run done. I think I just topped off the water. This one does take almost all the water, so for this this porter, and so that's something that I want to think about as I build my schedule. But this train is, I've run this one a lot in the last couple days, so trying to build my money back up. And if everything goes according to plan on this one, it's about $1,000. I think it's a $960 train, if I do all the moves, and that actually works out pretty well. So, because you don't have to run it too many more times until you can actually afford new stuff. And I have been actually buying some new things in anticipation for getting my log or my iron mine train set up and ready. So here we come into the platform, give the boys some bell and whistle, and then I've got a little piece of track set up right there. We want to actually put that piece of track right between the engine and the first car when we brake, and that gives us a nice good setup here. So we're going to load up all the stake beds, all 9 of them, 3 of them with lumber, and then 6 of them with beams, and that gives us an even 18. Which means that if we run with a single, when we run the mine train, if we run it with 2 hoppers, we don't waste any product. So now, ideally, I'd like to run this train with 15 of these cars right here. So it'd be 5 lumber and 10 beam cars, which would give us 30 of each. And then I can run a 3rd hopper, but I'm not quite sure if I can get 18 cars total up to the iron mine. So I haven't quite finished that line just yet. It'll be done here pretty soon. In fact, should be not the next video after this one, but the following one or 2, because that one's going to be a 2-parter as well. I do have the line done and run down to the smelter though, and so just a little bit more construction and then we can buy that new train. and test it out. And we'll do that in another long form video. Show you guys some really pretty scenery up there, because I did kind of a different run than some of the other folks. But that train will have to run after this one, because this one we need to have the lumber positioned to take up to the iron mine, and that's what this whole train's purpose is. Now, eventually we're going to have lumber locals for just about all the different types of trains that are out there. We're going to go ahead to here. So I want this track, this gap right here where that track is, because we'll have to run a lumber local here for the coal mine train, and eventually when we get there we'll have a southbound manifest train that will service just about everything in the south, and that one will need a lumber local too, because it's going to have a lot of there's a lot of customers down there that need something from here, mostly beams, and so each train will be a little bit different, but number 2 will be the engine on all of them, and we'll just run them in sequence, and hopefully that gives my railroad a little bit of variety. Because ideally what I've been thinking about doing, and this is a very nerdy, almost model railroady kind of thing to do, is to build this thing out, but then actually build a timetable and see if I can run it and fine tune it a little bit. Because that is actually something I know a little bit of something about. And that would be kind of fun to do if you can do it here in this game, which I think you can. You got all the tools you need. We need a little clock or something like that. I'm sure I can find an app that will do that, or a widget or something, and then just test it out. In fact, I should have done that tonight. Come to think, that's okay. So you've got the YouTube timer, and so do I. So that'll work. So in fact, actually, that'll work when we actually do a full operating session too. So, all right, 2 more cars, and then we'll have to do one of our switch moves here, where we have to hop off the engine, run ahead, grab a switch. So this gap right here is where we want that track. This thing really helps. So I've seen a lot of people doing very similar things, and consider that idea stolen. So, because like on a railroad, like modern railroad, you'd either have a car counter or you'd have a rock that you put out here. So, ooh, that one's we might be a little bit off on that one. Let's see. We might be a little bit off. I think we'll still be okay. So, yeah, but sometimes you just put a rock down or something, especially if it's a move you have to do fairly frequently. Now, see, look at that. Dang it, we just blew our schedule, man. I was hoping for 30 minutes, but just a little bit off there means that we're going to actually have to come back and reload this. Let's just try it. Maybe we get lucky. But, see, it's ahead of the truck, so you would hope. Oh, nope, it's not going to work. Alright. So, you just got to go back half a truck. We just cost ourselves a minute here. So, that's okay. Maybe 35 minutes. You never know. Alright, here we go. Back. Come on, back. Back, back, back. Back, back. Do the things. There we go. This is a heavy, heavy train, so this little engine is not happy about it. That should be enough. Forward. Close that up. 1, 2, brake set. Oh, we might have gone too far now. Dang it, cost myself 2 minutes. Well, that's okay. That other crane there, we'll take care of that. Yeah, we'll be alright. So, we'll see how many of the loads I jack up at the sawmill. The thing's been particularly tricky in some cases. I don't think I put any marker tracks down up there, come to think of it. I've done this run enough now where I kind of eyeball it. And up there we don't have to get in the engine either. So this is really long though, and so it's not uncommon. The longer the train that you have, the more mistakes you make. Speaking of mistakes, I just about made one there, so we need to tie this car down. So, because we're going to cut these guys loose, we're going to head up to the log camp, and then we'll pick them up on the way back. So we need to pull pin on you right here, shrink right there. And we're going to go knuckle into the log cars here. So this way, every time I run this one, we're refilling the log pond. So, oop, left that open. Didn't mean to do that. Let's do about 30. Let's run up there, grab that switch. Yep. I think 30 is about good. I can hear it. He's chasing me down. Gotta get to the switch, man. Oh no, we're fine. Oh, he's going a little fast here. So let's go in here. Cut that down. Where's my switch stand? There's the switch stand. 1 car, 2 cars. That's probably about 3. Right about there. That should be good. Way over the points. Ooh, just barely. Check that out. That's perfect. Alright, so we got a pin and a link right there. Let's go ahead and back into these other guys here. And we can do this in this view. You gotta remember to throw some logs on the fire here. So water temperature is good though, but that'll start to come down here pretty soon. That fire temperature comes down. I've had a heck of a time learning how to run a steam engine. So, diesels are cool too. I do have a little experience with that. Although I never did mark up as an engineer. So, didn't quite have the chance to do that. You know what? I probably wouldn't have done it anyway. But, some of the other simulators are really, really close to what it's like to run, especially some of the modern stuff. So a lot of the train sims out there having you play equipment that I'm not familiar with, or just kind of trains that just don't seem like kind of trains that I'd want to run, which are freight trains with a lot of switching. So if I had a game that had a good local in it, that would be perfect. But it is kind of cool to see some of the equipment that you're familiar with. In this game, I'm not familiar with anything in it, and so it's been kind of fun trying to figure out not just how to run a good train, a mean train, a train that cooperates with the doors. There we go. So, but you know, managing your fuel, your steam, and your water, all those things have definitely been challenging for me. And I hope they've been challenging for you too. So I think this game is doing a pretty good job as a simulator. So yes, there are bugs in it. Yes, I've encountered some of those that are decidedly not fun, especially the invisible pieces of track that cause your train to instantaneously stop or derail, which is why you need to run Betsy over every little piece of rail that you lay down before you run some big expensive train late at night over it. So you can find some of those bugs. Yes, your cars do come unpinned if they've been sitting on yard tracks for a while, or you just haven't used them in a while. Quite honestly, what I do in that situation is like, so I've been running these tonight, so I know these are all pinned. But if I were to just start a new session tonight, I would pull the pins on all of these, I would bunch them all up, repin them, stretch them out, and off we go. So, it's kind of a pain, but it's no different than lacing up a train. So, which is something that you'd have to do just about every day in the real world. They call it your air test. There you go. That's what it is. It's basically an air test. So, alright, making number 2 work for it here. So let's open this up. Oh yeah, she's a little noisy right now, making her work. That's okay. We got a little bit of a hill here, so I like to kind of charge this hill. So, water level's great, so yeah, we might as well open it up, charge the hill. and see exactly how long it takes us to load these. Now, this is a balloon track here, so we don't need to flip the switch. Okay, so this would be a perfect one for a spring switch, but we don't have those in the game. But at the same point in time, I just load whatever side it's lined for, and then we just line it on our way out. And then, of course, you go on the other way the next time. So last time I came up here, I loaded the cordwood cars first. And so this time looks like we'll be doing the flats. And so let's go ahead and drop that down. So, and this is a little bit of a gnarly hill, so I do like to charge it a little bit just to get up here as quickly as possible. This side's a little bit harder because, like, the ass end of your train is draped over that hill, and so it takes a little bit of effort to get. That's going to be just about right there. To get some momentum going after you make your first move. So, ooh, look at that! I've got a log in my hands. Well, we know what to do with those. Pew, pew, pew. Let's go ahead and get these cars now. I get it. It makes sense to do these in evens. Alright, so I have 5 of these cars. So which means I have to do 3 moves in order to load all 5 of them. And one of the cranes won't be used on the last move, which seems like kind of a waste. And I think it is. But I also did this because normally I would just do 4 of these. But I've got 5 cars because I wanted to fill the log pond back up. And I was almost out of money, so I could only afford 1. Now I can afford another. I've just been too lazy to go down there and actually get a new one. So maybe in the future we'll do 6 of these. But for right now we're just doing 5. And so that fills up the log pond because I pulled 18... lumber and beams out, but I put 30 in, and so eventually I want to take 30 out and put 30 in, and so I don't even really need to get another log car. It's just a question of whether or not, you know, the fact that I have to do this in 3 moves pisses me off, and I haven't quite decided on that yet. So, it might. It might, but that's okay. Alright. So that's 2. So ahead 1 car. And this is a little hard to see. But I just have to come ahead 1 car so this car is even up with that crane. So could put some track down here just to make sure, but just haven't gotten around to it yet. Oh, brake! Whoa, that's too far. So that is too far. I can tell you that just by looking at it. Sorry, meant to hit my brake there. And did not. So, oh, just about a truck. That's good, right there. And slack spools out, or kicks out there. That'll probably be just about right. Yep, perfect. There you go. 1, 2. And then we'll go around the balloon track. Go load up cordwood. I just did a run where I ran cordwood through the fuel dump, or the fuel station down in the main yard there. I think we're going to call our main yard Anna. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to dig out some of my old stuff, but I think that's what we used to call the main yard, was Anna. This game has brought back a lot of memories for me, so it has been a while since I thought about kind of the nitty-gritty of railroading. So, you know, when you play Transport Fever or something, you know, you kind of, like, I mean, that's a really cool game. I do like it. But it's more of a theoretical view on railroading. So, you know, where you're limited in what you can do. And then this one is much more granular. Because not only do you build, you have to run, and it forces you to think of moves that you run and trackage and considerations that you wouldn't normally have to think about in most games. They'd be simplified. to the point where those things are irrelevant, or you're literally on rails, like some of the simulators where it's like, oh, here's your wheel, here's your switch list, you know, or here's your station stops and stuff like that. That's the wrong direction, you dummy. So pay attention to what you're doing. You just did it again. There we go. So sorry, these are not in the right order. They should be in a different order, but that's okay. So I'm not asking for a change. So, all right, let's see. That's probably about good. Can't really see. So this is kind of a shot in the dark. Probably should put a piece of rail down, just so I know. Some kind of marker. Yep. Ooh, tight. Yeah, maybe. Might work. Might work. Let's see. But as I was saying, this game makes you think about a lot of things that are really, really kind of like, they're very realistic. And so I've enjoyed kind of rethinking about like, oh, what kind of train would we run and what would it have on it and why would we do that and how long would we expect it to run, and you know, all kinds of cool things like that that I haven't thought about in a long, long time. Mainly because I just haven't seen a game that did it in a while, or maybe there have been a few out there. They just completely went off my radar. I've played just about all of them, or at least the ones where you build and try and, you know, build your concepts and do revenue and stuff like that. Over the years. And some of them have been better than others. Some of them have been downright disappointing. But this one, for as early access, as an early access game, and for something that just kind of like dropped out of nowhere. Well, I don't know. You know, I think there was a previous game that I don't know the whole story, so I'm not going to speak on it. But I did not see this one coming, and so as soon as I saw it, it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. All right, let's try that. Let's play it. And then after a week, it was like, okay, this is cool. Let's do another YouTube channel, shall we? So I throw this game out there because I love this game. It is absolutely fun to play. So it tickles my my railroad funny bone in a way that a game hasn't done in a long, long time. I would have to say the last one that really kind of did it for me was probably Transport Fever. I don't know. There's been a couple over the years. I mean, Transport Tycoon was a classic one, but then, or like Railroad Tycoon, like 1 or 2. I never really liked 3 that much. 2 was really good. I have to say, I hate to say it, but 1 was probably my favorite, just because I played it the most back on the old CGA. CGA is 4-color, for those of you guys who don't know. So, yeah, your trains were pink. It was great. So, that one was always a lot of fun. And then what did Sid Meier did another one down the road, Railroads. That game was not that good. It was basically like having a big train set, and it was buggy as hell. I still played the heck out of it. But it was one of those games where the more you played it, the more you realized that there just wasn't that much more to it. And so, and once you got enough trains running, it got kind of grouchy at you. So, and I never liked that. Alright, here we go. Coming to a platform. Let's give the boys a little bell. And so this one's just 2 moves over here, and we got to be careful because this is a kind of steep hill right here. I mean, it's only, I think it's only 2.5%. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's 2.5%. I have to go back and look at the build video. Although, you know what, I've had to relay this. Yeah, I had to relay this the other day because these cranes were too. My track was too close to the cranes. That was totally my bad. And so if you want to watch me jack that up, that's on that hour-long where I'm testing this train out video. So, but I did fix it. And so it works now. There we go. So it's 8 of these on this. So we got to jump back and forth between these here a little bit. And then we'll pull forward 1. And load that one up, kick the brake off, and run down the hill, flip the switch, let the train catch us. So, Anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about old school train games and how cool the original Railroad Tycoon was. There was a cheater way in that game, though. So there was a way that you could actually build a really mean railroad fairly quickly. That was just based upon mail, if I recall. Man, I haven't played that game in a long time. It looks awful. So it's one of those early 90s games that just doesn't hold up. But man, that game was fun. Railroad Tycoon 2 was a lot of fun too. So that one got a lot more complicated. And then I think it was a completely different company that made 3, if I'm not mistaken. It felt like a completely different game. Kind of like what they did to SimCity. But that's, yeah, I don't know. That's a matter of opinion. So, but then other railroad games, like, I remember playing one of the original train simulators. I think you had to run, this was like 2002 or 5-ish, where you had to run BNSF over the High Line. That was actually a really cool game. And it was interesting, too, because there were parts and I was like, ooh, I recognize this. So, no, I'm not talking about the territory. So, let's see. Just forward 1. Kick the brake on. Oh, man, see, this train's pushing us around. It's a nice, heavy train. Nice, heavy, and angry. All right, one more. One more. So let's go ahead and throw some logs on the fire here. And let's see, what are we at? We're at 26 minutes. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to make this run in 30 minutes. It's probably just not going to happen. I haven't made too many mistakes yet either. Let's see. It'll be close. Maybe 35 minutes. 35 minutes ain't bad. So that's like a, get home after work and, just run the lumber local for half an hour. Or, can't stay up late tonight. Let me run the lumber local just for another half an hour. That would be pretty good. Because my mine train, particularly the iron mine train, is going to be a long run. And so is the coal mine train, too. I have started to scope out my track to the coal mine. I spend quite a bit of time doing that. So I don't have those things on camera. Because they take hours and hours to figure out where you want the track to go. And oftentimes you wind up going and deleting it all and trying something else. Like my route to the iron mine, I must have tried about 4 different ones to get up there before I settled on one that is long but low on grades and doesn't have any gnarly curves and only has one slightly gratuitous bridge. So, and even that would be debatable. So, yeah, but there will be a video on that one out here pretty soon. All right. So, as soon as that guy loads. All right, here we go. All we're going to do here is kick off the brake and run for it. So, because the train will move on its own volition here. Train's going to train. Which means it's going to go downhill whenever a chance you get. Man, that is gnarly right there. I'm going to have to fix that someday. This switch is kind of gnarly. Both sides, actually. Look at that. It's got this little divot in here. Right there. Alright, we better catch this train. That would be a scary hop on right there. And you guys all know that you're not allowed to jump on moving equipment, right? So, it's a good way to rip your arms off. So, right there. So now you know that all the old head conductors know how to do it, and they teach you how to do it and T and Y, but you know you're not supposed to do it, right? But you do anyway, don't you? So, that's okay. What's the other thing that you're not allowed to? Oh yeah, so the number one thing, yeah, getting on and off moving equipment is usually verboten. And what's the other one? I never saw, and I never did do a flying switch or drop a car. Now, I know in theory it can be done, and I've heard tale of it being done, but I myself have not done it. We might have to look for an excuse to try that on this game at some point in time. It is something that I have never done, and I'd be curious. Let's go ahead and get in the cab view here. Go ahead and open this up. How are we doing on water? Water, we're good. Fuel, we're good. And even though this is supposedly level here, see, it looks really level. I always lose momentum right about here. And it might just be because of the weight, the drag on the train. Or it's just where the momentum from coming down that hill kind of plays out. But it's always been kind of slow right here. And so I usually cut back, just coast right in. And we're going to cut off our 5 log cars. And go over here, pick these guys up, and make it back to the yard, tie up. That'll be it for this train. So anyway, here we go. Let's break this down. Good on the bell. Coming in. Oh, a little bit too much brake there. Just slow roll it on in here. Come on. Log cars should be pushing me a little bit harder than that. There we go. Give it a little bit of gas there, Tiny. Alright. Off we go. So, ooh, look at that. I don't know if this one's going to count. Let's try it. I'm curious. Nope, totally wasted them logs. Oh, no, there they are. They're in there. Cool. That was an experiment. So, fortunately, it worked out for us. So, alright, that's the rest of our log cars. So, this log car right here, we're going to tie this one down. Yep, there we go. I'm going to pull the pin over here. And then we're going to kick the brake off. Set the regulator to about 30. And I'm going to meet the train over there at the switch. So here we go. Forward, regulator, about 30. Let's open that up. Oh, brake off, my bad. About 30. Let's do about 37. Let's try that. Maybe save ourselves 10 seconds or so. Need to build a little footpath here because my switch is way over here, and I've probably worn this thing thin by now with all the times that I've done this. I'm so sick of this because I put the switch way down here to maintain a radius right here. This is 18 degrees. This one's actually bigger. But I'm thinking about moving that switch up to that point there just so I don't have to walk as far. So, something tells me the superintendent will not approve that. This is an unnecessary expense, sir. So there we go. 1. That's probably 2. Probably about 3. Alright. I was a little harsh on the brake right there, but that's okay. And let's kick that over. And then, are we lined? Let's go line this switch here, and that'll take us into the yard. There we go. While we're here. All right, one last move, and then we're done. So we can go to beans. Oh, as long as I'm doing the thing right. There we go. Beans is a universal railroad term, if you haven't heard that one before. So, all the different folks that I met and the different roads that I worked with. Or at least folks on different roads. Everybody knew what beans was. Everybody else had different names for everything else. So like UP, BNSF, CSXT, they all have different train symbols. They all use different rule books. Their timetables are basically Japanese to each other, if you're not familiar, but everybody knows what beans is. There's 2 things, beans and tie up. Tie up means go home. So beans means lunch. So, or food, whatever. So, and that was true everywhere. Everything else had different names, but not that. All right, easy does it. About one car. These cars are heavy, so we just wanna kiss this car right here. Right about. Oh, got a little bit zealous with the brake there. There we go. Just bunch those all in. So, all right. This is a heavy train. Oh, that's right. I got one of these left here, don't I? So, shrink. Let's see. Let's see if this lines up. We got to kick off this brake. That'll spool out some slack. Probably help us right here. Bam! Off we go. Alright, highball. Right into the yard. So, bell, cock, brake, reverse her forward. Give me 2. And let's open her up. There you go. Yep. This engine takes a little bit more on the regulator to get her moving than Betsy does. But I do like the way that it looks. It is a cool little engine. I like the little tender behind it. It's kind of fun to run. And this is a good sized train right here too. So I'm going to come straight into the yard this train, tie up, go to Baines. Well, technically when you tie up, you're done for the day, usually. Usually, not always. You could be dog catching. We'll explain that someday, if you don't know what that means. It's a good way to make money. Sometimes. Not always. Usually means you're going to sleep in your own bed, though, so that's pretty good. So, alright, we're lined in. So that's the yard track. That's lined into the yard. Looks like we're lined into yard 1. Yep, I set that before we left. And so here we go. Let's let the boys know we're coming. And so I've already got Betsy over here with 2 hoppers, and so technically what we would do with this train, bring it into this yard, tie it down, attach these 2 hoppers on the end, and then pull off these cordwood cars here, because I don't need to drag them all the way up to the mine. But I do want my mine train to snag them on the way back, so maybe we'll set them out over here. Maybe we'll put them right here on main 2. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. So, but that is something we will work out during our operating session. Man, we just barely fit in this thing, don't we? Check that out. It's almost like I planned it out. All right, so here we go. Let's get off here. So that is the lumber local, and I'm showing us at 3801, and so 35 might be a little bit of a challenge, but if we can pencil that into the timetable, it'll be a good benchmark for us running this train in the future. Now, of course, that'll change if we add a few more cars on here, which we might. But for the time being, so this train here it's not just a money maker. It's actually pretty fun to run. And so, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the ride along tonight. Got yourself a little bit more familiarized with the territory here. And we will do more of these in the future. Whenever we actually have a train, we'll set it up on a longer video. And then we'll do another one after I feel a little bit comfortable running it. So you kind of get, like my thought process on one video, and then you get like hopefully an ideal run. And this wasn't exactly a perfect run, but it was pretty dang close. It was good enough for me. So if you like these, or if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please drop them down there in the comments section. If you like these videos, you know what to do. Give me some bell and whistle on the YouTubes there, and we'll see you with a couple more build videos here pretty soon, so we can start running some mine trains. And I hope you're getting as much of a kick out of this game as I am. So we'll see you all in the next video. Take care now. Bye.